All right. So we're talking tonight about the difference between trauma and being traumatized. To me, it's really important to distinguish one versus the other, so that we know what we're talking about and have a better understanding of what all this is. So when I say a trauma, I'm talking about an event or a situation that my body believes it needs to protect itself from or during. If I'm talking about being traumatized, that is a stage in the process of responding to the event or situation. There's a bunch of stages in responding to traumas, and being traumatized is one stage. I think I'll just leave it like that. It's very simple, and I could explain way more about it, but I want to just put that down for now. A trauma is the event or situation that is kind of activating or triggering for instinctive defenses. Being traumatized is part of the process of responding to the action, to the event. It's a biological process like digestion. With digestion, we aren't really able to make that stop or start by thinking about it. With being traumatized, that is something that we have a little bit more mental control over. I'll get into that in a moment. Has everybody heard of fight, flight, freeze, these stages? Okay. So these are instinctive ways that our body protects itself. They're tools. And in the moment of feeling threatened, our body generates a lot of energy to try to protect itself, either by running, right, fighting, vocalizing. Okay, an infant will be crying, right? That's part of its way of protecting itself. And if we don't get a chance to use that energy, it doesn't just disappear. It'll stay kind of on pause until there's a chance to spend that energy. So I think of it like the water behind a dam. When we have been traumatized and that energy is still, like water behind a dam, it hasn't been spent, our body will send us signals that feel urgent, that say that it wants to finish processing, it wants to finish responding to those dangerous things. Some people, those signals come very regularly, and it feels uncomfortable, right? The signals feel uncomfortable. The signals can be like anxiety or physical pain. And it feels uncomfortable, and our mind would rather just stay in control. It doesn't want to let the water out from behind the dam, because that would feel like kind of going back into the dangerous, threatening trauma moment, which feels scary or angering or sad. So in my mind, the role of a thinking mind in processing being traumatized is to let go of the brakes, or to choose to open somewhere for that water to flow out from behind the dam. And so with those sensations, emotions that come up like urgent signals saying, we need attention, we need to finish this process, those signals are important. The things that come up are important. They're appropriate. They connect us to the moment of having been threatened. finish the process of responding, what it does take is to allow ourselves to feel the things that we felt at that time. Most important in that is that we feel safe. That is the absolute most important part of somatic trauma therapy, that we feel safe. If we don't have safety on board, then we don't move towards the activating stuff, right? We've got to be like already in a place where we go, okay, physically in my environment, I'm okay here. And we can let it out in smaller bits than it went in, right? There are some moments that I've experienced, traumatizing moments way in the past, that came in really big, right? Super overwhelming, way too much to deal with. And to let it out, I don't want to let it out all at once, right? I'm going to want to kind of like make thin slices of it, chop it up really thin. Or, you know what? Somebody showed me a pop bottle. If I've got a pop bottle and I shake it up, if I open it all up, it's just going to come spewing out. If I open it just a tiny bit and it goes tss, and then I tighten it back up, eventually that's going to drain all the pressure, right? That's the way we want to approach somatic trauma therapy type work, is just little bits at a time, manageable little chunks. And that's different for everybody. So what it looks like when it comes out is often shaking, physical shaking, or trembling or twitching. And a lot of the time people want to make that stop. That's to me, that's the opposite of what we want. We want to allow our body to do that movement. So shaking, trembling, twitching can be crying, can be other vocalizations, can be other, sometimes even really specific movements. And it doesn't always make sense. It doesn't always make mental sense. And that's also got to be okay. That's a whole different part of the work. So again, safety is the number one most important piece. So when we go towards something that feels activating, we've got to feel safe enough in the present moment to be able to let a little bit of that experience in so that it can fully be allowed to head on out. And that's our aim, working with this group of people here, right? When we do go ahead and start working with this stuff in person, we're going to make sure that people are feeling grounded and safe and steady in their environment and in their body first. For some people, that's as far as we get. Even that's important, right? And there's no rushing. When it feels like there should be rushing is actually exactly when we slow down. And you get to decide how much you are willing to engage with, right? That's important, is that people have choice with, even, you know, if you show up at the somatic work session and you go, I don't think I'm doing this today, you don't have to, right? And that can change from 1 minute to the next, and that is also okay. Yeah. We're just learning, right? We're becoming familiar with the process. We are learning about the process and how it lives in our body and how it gets processed out of our body. And as much as we learn and become familiar with is good. Yeah. I believe that I've made sense I just want to check. Leanne, did I make sense?
Makes sense to
Okay,
me.
great.
Actually got me really looking forward to the somatic sessions.
Okay, perfect. So that's where we're gonna stop here.